Oh man, guys, this episode, Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 3, was absolutely amazing. This episode had to be one of the best episodes, or hell, I'll go ahead as to put it as the best episode of, at this point in the series of Game of Thrones. Of this season, my bad. This season, Season 3, has to be the best episode, hands down. So much happened this episode, but a lot of it was, again, untrue to the book, which kind of has me. But for an adaptation with this much ground to cover, it's actually doing very, very well. Let's start off with Hoster Tully's death scene. When Hoster Tully's boat's sailing away, Edmure's job, which is Catelyn's brother, Robb's uncle, his job, as the Tully kind of funeral ritual, he has to fire an arrow, a fire arrow, into the boat that's sailing away. It's supposed to burn as it sails off. This is how they do their funerals. Edmure, the symbol, it's symbolism that's being used right now to show that Edmure is incapable. He misses 3 arrows, he whiffs them, and guess who cleans up the mess? None other than Brynden Blackfish Tully, who happens to be one of the most badass characters in this A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. Easily one of the best characters. Witty, funny, does what he has to do, does it flawlessly, and that's Brynden Blackfish Tully for you. So, he basically hits the boat with the fire arrow after Edmure's incapable of doing it, and he walks away. Then we have this scene where Robb is getting on Edmure's back because he screwed up the battle plan. Basically, the battle plan was to corner the mountain and kill him. What Edmure thought he would do to please Robb, or to do it, or get the easy way out without sacrificing as many men, etc., he did not follow the battle plan. Instead of killing the mountain, which he could have easily done if he followed the battle plan, he let him go in exchange for a few hostages and the mill. Basically, he changed up the battle plan himself without permission, and he thought he was doing a good thing, but he screwed up. He done screwed up because he let the mountain that rides, a very, very, very powerful force, top tier character, very, very much so top tier character in the Game of Thrones verse, he let him go. And that was a very, 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 very big mistake. So other than this is pretty much what Edmure does in this episode. He's pretty much a screw up at this point. That's how he's being portrayed, and that's what he is. Now, Baelish. We're getting to Petyr Baelish. How he has a relationship with Lysa Arryn of the Vale. If you don't remember who Lysa Arryn was, that was the woman that kidnapped Tyrion back in Season 1 and had her like 12-year-old son still breastfeeding. That's Lysa Arryn, the crazy woman, Catelyn's sister. Now, Baelish apparently has her favor, meaning he's going to marry her and move to the Vale, and that's how they're going to get the Vale, the soldiers, supplies, strategic location, and they're going to bring it over to the side of the kingdom. Currently to the side of the Iron Throne. Now, this, we know Baelish said he has a plan to get away from the capital and bring Sansa away. So, putting 2 and 2 together, you should already be able to figure out that this is his ticket out, and this is also Sansa's ticket out. And it's looking good for Sansa, because Lysa Arryn is her aunt. But we know that she's batshit crazy. So, who knows what's going to happen with that. But that is the status with Baelish right now. Now, Jaime. I'm going to go ahead and explain Jaime's situation right off the bat. Him and Brienne were captured by a group called the Brave Companions. Don't worry, this is spoiler free. The group called the Brave Companions is led by Vargo Hoat. This is the guy that ended up cutting off Jaime's hand. Now, the thing about Jaime here is he's going through his character development. We're supposed to know what kind of character Jaime is. And he is the kind of guy that is a scumbag and he's a dick. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to being a nice guy, he will have your back. And that's what he kind of showed Brienne. He was saying, Brienne, at first he was saying, telling her, when they try to rape you, don't struggle. Don't struggle. Just let them be. Let them have their way with you so you can at least live. Now, Brienne, you know, she's kind of reluctant because she has the strong woman kind of persona. she's reluctant. She obviously is not going to let them have their way with her. So she struggles, she kicks, she screams. So Jaime bluffs. He bluffs that Brienne's father, she is from Tarth. Her father is the Lord of Tarth, but it is such a huge bluff about the Sapphire Isle thing. It's called the Sapphire Isle for a completely different reason. And his bluff, Vargo Hoat does not call it. He believes it. He buys right into it, and he lets Brienne free. But the cost of Jaime protecting Brienne is his hand. Jaime pretty much sacrifices a part of himself for Brienne, who he previously did show that he hates. Now, what we are seeing is the fact that Jaime is not a bad person, which is what I keep telling people about Game of Thrones. Nobody in this series is bad. There is no true evil. There is no true good. Everybody has their flaws, and everybody acts based on what they personally think is right. And Jaime Lannister is no exception. He does have a good side to him. And this was definitely one of the highlights of the episode. Of course, there was this Arya, how she's traveling with the Brotherhood Without Banners. Hot Pie leaves them to cook at the inn. We are never going to hear from him. I don't think we're going to hear from him again because he's just out of the picture. Her and Gendry are now traveling with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and they have captured the Hound. This is all we know, and I'm not going to give any more information on this. They've captured the Hound. That's where we are at this moment. Now, we are going now to the north of the Wall with Jon Snow and the Wildlings. We see art, literally art made in the snow with the heads of horses. Holy shit. This moment in the episode was just insane. We know that the Wildlings are on some... not the Wildlings. The White Walkers are on some crazy shit. And we are getting more and more examples of how the White Walkers... there's pretty much a three-way war going on between the White Walkers, the Wildlings, and the Night's Watch. And basically, what Jon Snow and Mance Rayder, what they did this episode, Mance Rayder sent Jon Snow with a couple other guys on a raid. Their job is to go ahead and attack Castle Black, which is one of the main strongholds of the Night's Watch. And this is pretty much going to be... They don't have that many men. So, I'm not going to quite give away what happens. Of course, I'm keeping this spoiler free, but let's just say that Jon is now split from Mance Rayder. Mance Rayder and Jon are now in two separate teams, so to speak. They split off into teams, and Jon's group is going to try to take over the Wall itself from the Night's Watch. So that's what we have there. We go back now to Craster. The Night's Watch, the remaining portion of the Night's Watch with Sam and all those guys, Commander Mormont, they went to Craster's Keep, which, if you remember Craster, it's the guy that has incest with all his daughters, and they're living, he's a wildling, and they are living in a cabin in the middle of the winter. Now, what they did not do a good job of portraying in the adaptation is the cold. The cold in the Game of Thrones adaptation is supposed to be a major, major part of the series. Hence, the name of the series, A Song of Ice and Fire. The cold north of the Wall is supposed to be paralyzing. And basically, the reason why the Night's Watch is driven back to Craster's house is because they are fucking cold. These guys are so cold, they can barely even think. They're just driven to this point where they need shelter, they need warmth, period. That's why they're pretty much desperate to go back to Craster's house. Craster, with his sick personality, we have the scene with Sam, how he was saying, oh, you guys could have just eaten him if you're that hungry, if you're that cold. Just eat him, strip the fat off his bones. He has more fat on him than my pig over here. And that's just a hilarious scene in general. That was a great scene. Of course, we have Sam goes outside and he sees Gilly, which is the girl he's sort of talking to before with Jon. Season 2, I believe? I think it was season 2. And he sees her giving birth, and that's all we saw from there. Next, we can move on to Theon. Now, we're not supposed to know who captured Theon, but Theon pretty much was set free by someone else, set free of his captors, given a horse, and sent to ride off. And then he was seen to be being pursued by a couple other men on horses. They catch up to him, they hit him with the mace, and this was a beautiful, beautiful scene. It's Theon lying on the ground, he's gasping for air. They actually portrayed it realistically. Of course he'd be gasping for air if he gets the wind knocked out of him by a ball and chain. So he's lying on the ground, and then all of a sudden the same guy that set him free comes up with a bow and arrow and just shoots every single one of those guys. And this was a tremendous scene, like wow, mind-blowing scene, and that's all we got from there. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and make any speculations because I honestly don't remember, but all I know is Theon's story from here on out is going to be insane. It's going to be crazy, and it's going to mess with your head. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see, Melisandre, we got a little scene with Melisandre and Stannis. I honestly don't remember what happens here, even from the books, but Stannis is going to be playing a huge part, of course, in later in the story. And yeah, Melisandre is going to plot, she's plotting something. As always, this woman's plotting shit. What was I going to say? Melisandre, whether or not she actually has the power to do what she's saying she's going to do, to kill major players in the Game of Thrones, and all this stuff is going to be purely speculation at this point, and you're going to see it unfold. The whole Stannis Melisandre thing as the series advances. The rivalry with Daenerys' plot line, the rivalry between Jorah Mormont and what's his name? Oh yeah, Ser Barristan. There's a rivalry going on here to see who makes the best decisions. Because as you can see, they're disagreeing on literally everything. Jorah Mormont and Jorah Mormont and Ser Barristan are disagreeing on everything at this point. They disagree on literally everything, and this is going to come into play in a major way as the series advances. That's all I'm going to say on that front. And basically in this episode, Daenerys agrees to sell one of her dragons to get the Unsullied army. So that is that with Daenerys. This scene is hilarious. Again, the translations of what this guy is saying, hilarious. This guy is funny. The translations are great, and it's going like pretty much how it went in the book, and this is amazing. Daenerys is starting to grow a backbone of her own. She does not take orders anymore. She gives them. She considers what you say, but if you challenge what she says, she's going to screw you over. I mean, she's going to like use her authority to get the better of you. So Daenerys is now starting to develop her own backbone, and that's great. Now Podrick. Podrick's scene, and Tyrion's scene in general. Now, let me tell you, Podrick is the luckiest man alive. This kid got 3 women to himself this episode. Podrick, my man. He came back to the room so happy. He was so happy when he came back to Tyrion. And, okay, the thing that happened with Tyrion here, he was appointed to be the Lord of Coin. Basically, he's managing the funds for the realm. And as we heard, the realm is in debt. Not only to Tywin Lannister, also in debt to the Iron Bank of Braavos. And what is the... Okay, all I'm going to say, all I need to say for you guys to get this shit automatically. Do you know what the saying for the Iron Bank of Braavos is? That organization has a saying associated with it, like a slogan, like Subway Eat Fresh. The Iron Bank of Braavos is, the Iron Bank of Braavos will have its due, okay? Basically, if you don't repay them the money you got from your loan or whatever the hell you got, you're fucked. They're going to obliterate you, and that's all I'm going to say on that front. So the Iron Bank of Braavos is obviously going to play a huge role. The dialogue in this episode was truly amazing. The one-liners, the conversations, everything was just on point and great. And I pretty much at this point have covered everything that happened in the episode. Again, spoiler-free. Zaladin and Palantir, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. In my opinion, the adaptation is going along well based on the fact that they only have a certain amount of time to cover everything that happened in all these long books. So if you take into that in consideration of that, they can only choose to include the very, 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 very important things that happened and cover every other thing very, very lightly. But in my opinion, it's going greatly, especially this episode, and this is not even the peak. We are not even near to the peak of the season, and this episode was great. This episode was it was absolutely great. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, tell me what you guys thought of this episode. It's Alvin Palantir. I'm out, guys. Take care. Peace.